Disney's most adorable demigod, Maui, is once again back on the big screen, but this time in a live-action adaptation of Moana, played by Dwayne Johnson himself, who's been given his voice to this character for a decade now. But in today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the animated demigod Maui's entire physical anatomy to see what makes him so distinct from other heroes and demigods of Disney. From his tragic origin story to all the power and abilities he possesses, this video is going to explore it all. So, without further ado, let's get started. That genetics of a demigod thing. Just how strong is Maui really? So, first of all, Maui is a demigod whose powers are the result of divine intervention. His large muscular body didn't come from hitting the gym or loading up on protein powder. It came directly from the gods, who once rescued an abandoned child at sea and changed his fate. In one scene, where Moana goes to the exile island to take Maui with her, the dude sings an elaborate song called You're Welcome to boast about his supernatural powers and his love-hate relationship with nature. The tattoos on his body, and especially Mini Maui, the small sentient tattoo of himself, perform a whole presentation of his supernatural undertakings, like pulling an entire island up from the bottom of the ocean or lassoing a giant sun to slow it down and make the days longer. Not just that, he even pushed the sky far above so that humans had more room to walk around on Earth. So mythologically speaking, there are a lot of things for which humans are indebted to Maui for. Also, his legs work as giant springs, and with the help of them, he can take a massive jump and then land with intense force to make a crack in the ground. His lungs are as big as his heart, so when he blows air from his mouth, he can literally change the direction of the wind. And then, the most important part of his existence is the magical fishhook that helps him shapeshift, something he can't do on his own. That's why, living a long time marooned on the island, he lived the life of a human. Part of Moana's journey also includes Maui's pursuit to recover his hook from the ocean. Can Maui actually breathe hurricanes into existence? I wouldn't go so far as to call these storms Category 5 hurricanes or anything, but yeah, Maui does have this power to blow gusty wind from his mouth, which creates storms. His big, strong lungs contain a vast quantity of air, which helps him to control the breeze of his environment. Even in the song You're Welcome, he sings about harnessing the breeze because his wind can fill the sails and manipulate the environment. He doesn't need any magic fishhook to do that, because when the gods gave him powers, they changed his whole body, rebuilding his lungs to give them strength. If we consider another cartoon character demigod, Hercules, his powers come from his muscular strength, but for Maui, it comes from a mixture of both muscular strength and divine gift. The fishhook doesn't just look cool, what actually happens to his body when he shifts shape? The only aspect of his power that kinda has its own command over Maui is the mighty fishhook, which he lost a millennium ago. He uses this magical hook to change his body completely and adapt the form of any animal he wants. He swings the hook in a certain way, and it emits a blue-colored glowing energy, which helps it to shrink in size and become a part of his body. And that's how his whole anatomy gets changed and rebuilt into different shapes, sometimes a whale or a shark or even a very tiny bug. But Maui spent a long time without this ability after he lost the hook. What happened is that he stole the heart of the living island, Te Fiti, and intended to give it to humans so that they could create life, but the plan backfired when Te Fiti's evil alter ego, Te Kā, woke up and attacked the demigod. Unfortunately, Maui was defeated and banished to the island of exile, and he lost his magical hook in the process. To get it back, Moana and Maui leap into the deepest part of the ocean and confront the giant coconut crab, Tamatoa, in his realm of monsters. And here comes the funny bit when his shapeshifting abilities turn out to be kind of questionable. First of all, after centuries of not being able to use the hook, he kinda lost his confidence and precision for it, so the results were hilarious. Because of this instability, his head and torso changed into a white-colored shark's head, but his bottom remained the same. We can still see his legs and his leaf skirt. However, his tattoos didn't fade away, rather they formed a mini shark-headed Maui replacing the real one. This doesn't usually happen, so when it did, it was really fun. With more practice, his hook can rapidly change his forms, like his body can turn into a giant hawk or a very small beetle within just a fraction of a second.
You're welcome to fill your sails and shake your trees. So what can I say?
Wait, is that tattoo actually alive? Yeah, that's not just a cool tattoo to flex Maui's macho body, it's alive and aware of Maui's personality as well. You could even say that this tiny tattoo has its own personality, and in one promotional video, Dwayne Johnson called Mini Maui the voice of reason for the demigod, as he always guides Maui to do the correct thing. Whether Maui listens is an entirely different story. Mini Maui is basically a contradictory personality, and we all know that Maui at times can be a little too confident and selfish, and sometimes even too mischievous to always tell the truth. So Mini Maui constantly interrupts him and even disagrees with him, calling him out on his lies and even face-palming when he does something ridiculous. But Maui doesn't always obey the tattoo, sometimes he flicks him to his back to shut him up. Despite the small arguments and playful banter, the two are very close. When on the boat, Maui recalls his tragic past. Little Maui embraces him from within his skin, which tells us that in times of need, Maui gets his emotional support from this little guy. Maybe he spent those thousands of years of solitude talking to Mini Maui, the physical manifestation of his inner voice.
It's actually Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men.
How is Maui still in his physical prime after 1,000 years of exile? After centuries of living on Exile Island, when Moana meets Maui, he doesn't look frail or weak, he doesn't show any signs of surviving poorly. Rather, he's the same large, powerful, muscular man who can still do all the supernatural stunts he wants, except for changing his shape. That's because when the gods saved him as a child, they gave him the gift of immortality, which stopped his aging process altogether. He remains in his physical prime because time has no authority over him.
Coconuts. Anything they could ever want.
How does an abandoned baby turn into a literal god? Now it's time for Maui's tragic backstory, which you don't get to see at the beginning of Moana because it's revealed much later on the boat when a vulnerable Maui opens up about his past, starting with the line, "I wasn't born a demigod." He was born a human child centuries ago to an ordinary couple who didn't want to raise the baby, so they rejected him by throwing him into the ocean, leaving him to die. However, the gods decided to rescue the child and give him gifts like immortality and super strength. They turned him into a demigod, and that's how Maui's journey actually starts, although if you look into the Polynesian mythology which inspired the lore of Maui, it differs a lot from what's shown in Moana. According to the Maori or Polynesian mythology, Maui was actually born prematurely. His father was an underworld guardian, so his mother had to abandon him. She wrapped the child in her hair and cast him into the ocean, where the sun god took the child and raised him as a demigod. Can he actually take a hit, or is he all bark? Maui's cockiness might be a little too much sometimes, but dude's got his reasons. He's got incredible super strength and the spirit of a warrior, which we see in the final battle of Moana. When Moana finally reaches the lava demon's lair, she's attacked by Te Kā, but to save her from the demon's wrath, along comes Maui, taking various shapes to trick Te Kā and distract her from Moana to buy her some time. That's the most epic scene in the film, and it makes you understand that this man knows his game and he's not just all bark. By this point, Maui has already retrieved his fishhook and transformed into a hawk, a bug, a whale, and even an iguana to get a hold of Te Kā and blast out her lava body, giving her a tough battle. But when one blast from Te Kā's hand throws Maui at the rocky islet, he stands his ground to distract Te Kā by performing a Maori haka that stands for courage and unity. So yeah, our big guy here holds his cultural values pretty strongly, he always tries to save his friends, and yeah, he can take a real hit.
The hair, the bod. When you're staring at a demigod.
That body has caused a decade of arguments. What's actually going on with Maui's design? The idea of a large, bulky, mythical demigod was conceived by John Musker and Ron Clements and designed by Bill Schwab and Jin Kim. The character design was directly inspired by Dwayne Johnson's grandfather, Peter Maivia, a Samoan wrestler, which was kind of perfect since, as we know, Dwayne, aka The Rock, lent his voice to Maui in the original Pixar film. But after the design was officially announced to the public, there was some backlash, especially from certain Pacific Islanders. The Guardian reported that the New Zealand Member of Parliament, Jenny Salesa, brutally criticized the depiction, considering it to be an inappropriate representation of their mythology. In her words, Maui looked like half pig, half hippo, and she also said, "When we look at photos of Polynesian men and women from the last 100 to 200 years, most of our people weren't overweight, and this negative stereotype of Maui is just not acceptable." Not just that, in several other reports, we can see how everyone, starting from the media to politicians to even artists, got pissed at the character design because this bulky figure is suggesting an obese depiction that's humiliating to their cultural importance. Mythologically, Maui is a lean and athletic figure of divinity, so the Disney character didn't really match that energy. Although not everyone pointed out the cultural inappropriateness, the clash still remained. The indigenous people just wanted an authentic myth-inspired character to be portrayed, but Disney just wanted to make a memorable character for the children who wouldn't see Maui as a god, but more like a goofy friend sent from above. And now that we've mentioned that controversy, we probably should address the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that The Rock played Maui in the recently released live-action Moana adaptation. So this time, it probably didn't create as much controversy, right? Well, for Dwayne, it was a very special portrayal of Samoan culture, and in particular his own grandfather, so through his performance, he gives a tribute to his grandpa and draws inspiration from his body language to play the role. However, the fit and fine Dwayne Johnson replacing the unnatural bulk of animated Maui was too peaceful to start a controversy, so now people are making memes about the bald Rock wearing a silly wig. And honestly, as much as I love Maui, a live-action Moana could have been a far better adaptation than whatever it is we got, but Disney did what Disney always does, which is copying the source material to prevent further controversy, but this time it backfired since the lack of innovation in the script couldn't save the film from being both a critical and commercial disaster. And that's all we got for you guys today. Even though Dwayne Johnson finally portrayed Disney's big guy Maui on the big screen, the cute and cocky animated Maui from the original Moana will always be irreplaceable. And speaking of irreplaceable, our video's at an end, but if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons to tell us that you did so we make more stuff like this. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts on this particular controversial character. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.